Hey guys, Cloud here, and today I have kind of a unexpected video, but that's kind of how a lot of my videos go. So somebody on my Discord was asking for a way to detect when they are getting rained on, specifically for their application of having some kind of acid rain. So as you can clearly see here, the rain stops on this block, but not on this block. So when I go into here, the message saying there is sky above you closes. I don't really have a good word for this. Hopefully I come up with a good name in the video. But basically this just allows you to detect, similar to when a zombie or skeleton decides to go on fire, whether or not a player is outside. And conversely, if you wanted to, you could easily add a check for the time of day and thus burn a player if they're for some reason a vampire, right? But this is just a very simple literal one command and one pack little solution to solving this kind of problem, which is actually more complicated than you think. So in order to truly detect this properly, what you need to do is you need to be able to check the block the player is standing in, the block above the player standing in, the block above the player standing in, the block above the player standing in, so on, all the way up to 255 of the build limit and above the build limit. Why do I say above? Well, you don't necessarily have to go above, but you just have to go from where the player is standing all the way to the build limit. So there's a couple implementations that some of you might think of right off the bat. If you're a big raycasting guy, you might think, all right, so we just go to the player, raycast upwards until we're up to 255, and then stop there. Unless we hit a block, then you stop. That's okay, but that's going to be a lot of commands per tick. That's going to be a minimum of 500 commands if you're at like y equals 60 going up to 255, and if there is no block of air above you. That's not very cool. Also, it's going to be inconsistent with the lag in terms of how much performance, what kind of a performance hit you get based off of how many blocks are above a player. So for example, player standing at 255, you would basically not tell any difference in the, there would be basically no commands running, but player standing at 0, there would be a lot of commands running, which might be a problem for some people. And you still have to, in some way, detect what block it is besides just air, which is just a problem that is just going to be general. So you have to be able to detect grass as not counting as a solid block. Or, for example, you have to detect trapdoors as not counting as a solid block. In Minecraft, trapdoors are a solid block, but only when they're closed, not when they're open. So I just went ahead with the convention of they're going to not count as a solid block because there is some state choices which are hard to detect. And the same thing with fences. I decided to make all of fences not block the rain or count as blocking the sun. Yeah, just kind of general things like that, but I'll show you where you can mess with what is and isn't. So the way that this works is actually with predicates. So predicates allow you to check certain things at locations. So let me pull up a predicate generator. So with predicates, what we can do is we can check location check, and we can add an offset. And we can check what block it is. Okay, cool. And we can add a block tag. So let's just do a generic one, doesn't matter. So here's the problem. This will just check once. So do we need 255 predicates? No, we don't need 255 predicates. What we can do is we can use multiple. And what this does is all of them have to be true in order for it to be true. Now you run into the issue of, okay, so we just go offset 1, offset 2, offset to 255, make a generator because you don't want to click this thing 255 times. But now you have another problem. So if you look for blocks that do not block air, so if you see like, okay, is the block they're standing in air? Is the block above them air? Is the block above them air? Well, with this offset, if I am standing at y equals 74, then one of our offsets will be outside of the build limit. And when you're outside of the build limit, what that does is it makes it so it does not count as a block at all. So your predicate will be false. So in order to fix this, all that I did is I went with inverted location check, and we look for the blocks that are going to block air. So we're looking for things that block air. So what this does is if we see a block that blocks air right here, like above the player, then we stop. If we don't see a block that blocks air anywhere all the way up, and no block at all will also come up as a true. So if we can't find a block there, it is inverted. So it, instead of can't find a block, it is true. So we maintain our true statement. So every one of these has to be true in order for it to return true. So we have to use inverted to look for what blocks will block air instead of looking for what blocks are air, which is a little bit painful, but it's what we have to do. So in order to do this, I made a generator, not on my website, just my own. I just wrote a script. And what it does is pretty simple. So we have a predicate here called check sky, and it has 255. And it's looking for this block tab called rain blocking. Okay. Then we also have a command, and this is just running as at the player, because it has to be at the player, and checking the predicate. Okay, so that's simple. And if you were using this in your data pack, you would just copy the predicate over and copy the Minecraft tags block tag that I added here called rain blocking. I will also include a block tag in the download called all blocks, which will have all the blocks. Rain blocking, I deleted some that I figured would be fair, but some are still here that shouldn't be, probably, like sapling, and maybe some aren't here that you want to be allowed here, like the fences. So I'll include a thing called all block, and all you do is do Control F, look for a keyword, so let's say sapling, and then you just delete all the ones that you think apply. So and a lot of them are very close to each other, so you can just delete a whole section. Just be careful that you don't accidentally leave like 2 commas or no commas, because then it won't work at all. So you just kind of go through and find which ones you don't want, which ones you want to be transparent per se. And I will include a all blocks block tag in here as well. So that's pretty much it. All you got to do is run the predicate, and it works. It may take a while to reload your resource pack having your data pack having a block tag that has so many elements. It's not a problem for me because I have a lot of RAM, but maybe it'll take a while for you. So just keep that in mind if you, for some reason, don't see the function popping up for a little bit. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next one. Peace.